So in this lesson, I want to go over image processing. And image processing is really important because convolutional neural networks, which is the neural network that we're working with in this course, really work on what are called images, right? So images obviously consist of things like JPEGs, PNGs, basically even GIFs. Any kind of visual representation of a file qualifies as an image. And convolutional neural networks are really good at being able to quantify that data and then make predictions as a result. And so the images that we're working with are going to be called RGB images. And that's because each image that has a color is made up of pixels. So as you can see in this picture of Abraham Lincoln, there are different types of pixels that make up an image. And so at the end of the day, even though we might see this visual representation of an image, a computer is going to be seeing only these numerical numbers, right? Computer only cares about numbers, while we might care about how we perceive an image. And so in the same way that the computer looks at numbers, there's specific channels of an image, right? I just talked about RGB images. There are actually RGB channels. And so each image has 3 different channels, which are red, green, and blue. And that's what creates and causes color. And so in this case, this is a grayscale image. So there's only one layer filter for black and white. But in colored images, you would actually have 3 of these filters here with 3 different numbers, 3 different pages with different numbers. And so what I want to talk about is actually how we would represent an RGB image. And so let's say that we have a 32 by 32 image of a person smiling. Well, to a computer, that doesn't really mean anything because we just have this image. It can't really extract any meaning from it. And so to a computer, we would actually write this as 32, 32, 3. And that actually gives it some actual information about the image, because what it means is that, well, this is a 32 by 32 image, right? So 1, 2, 32 by 32. And then it has 3. And that talks about the number of channels we have. And so we have RGB channels, and so this is the 3rd part. And so these are the 3 parts that make up an image. And so let's practice on this Abe Lincoln image right here. Let's say that it's approximately, I haven't counted the number, let's just say it's about maybe 8 by 13. And so if we were going to represent that image for a computer, we would say 8, 13, 1. And that basically means, well, there's 8 columns, 13 rows, and it's only 1 channel because it's grayscale. It only has that 1 channel, but an RGB image has 3 channels for color. And so the the size of an image actually depends on the kind of hardware you have. And so if you have GPUs or TPUs, you can have really, really high size images because those types of hardware, they're able to take a lot more memory and they can run with a lot more pixels. And so images are just fundamentally made up of pixels. And an important thing to note is just that in this picture here that we see of a computer, if you look at the range of pixels, the maximum is going to be 255 and the minimum is going to be negative 255. And so if I had a really high scale GPU and TPU setup, those are basically just hardware devices that accelerate machine learning training, then I could pass in these pixels and it would work pretty well, no problem. But for the sake of this course and in general, a lot of people just are running stuff off their personal computer. So they might not have really, really high level of processing power. And so we can actually do, it's just a simple division where you can just divide the value of these pixels by 255. And instead, now you're going to be having -1 to 0 as your range. And computers will obviously deal with the decimals, -1 to 1 as your range. And computers will actually be very, very good at this because at the end of the day, they're just going to be dealing with decimals, and computers, unlike humans, very, very good at math. And so at the end of the day, all that you really need to take away from this lesson is just that images are what convolutional neural networks use, and images have different types of channels. In this course, we're going to be using 3-channel images, so RGB images, and that all images are made up of a pixel range from -255 to 255, and that we can minimize that just by simple division by 255, giving us this final range. And that is it for this lesson. Thank you for watching.